question? Can you dig it? Yep, got it. Can you dig it? Yes, got it. Labor dispute at Canada Post and teeing up Game 4 tonight of the Stanley Cup Final. Details on these and other stories coming up. But first, News Talk 1010 Time Saver Traffic.
Two left lanes blocked following a collision on the southbound 410. It's right though split where the 401 wrecks are. So to east or west 401, two left lanes are affected. Really slow both ways on the 401 across the GTA. West 401 past Dixon Martin Grove. Left lane is out for some ongoing maintenance. Has a problem east 401 Express past Young. It's still kind of close to the right lane. And in Sutton, Highway 48 shut down between Park Road and Ravenshoe Road for a serious collision. Time saver traffic. I'm Lisa Morales. Next update at 12:15 on News Talk 1010 Toronto.
A massive recovery operation is underway in India after a Boeing 787 Dreamliner operated by Air India crashed minutes after takeoff from a residential area in the country's northwest. 242 people were on board, including a Canadian, while the flight was bound for London Gatwick. Officials have said there are no known survivors. CTV News aviation specialist Phil Doherty says that's no surprise given the circumstances.
The aircraft had approximately 65,000 kilograms of fuel on board for the 9-hour flight to Gatwick. And you can saw the fireball that erupted after the aircraft impacted the ground. It's not only on the people that are on the aircraft, but how many people are on the ground. That building is actually charged as well.
The pilots did declare Mayday. The plane only climbed just over 600 feet before it went down. It's the first ever crash reported for this type of Boeing aircraft. You recall a 20-year-old man is in hospital with serious injuries after a stabbing this morning in the King and Brooklyn area. CB24's Courtney Hughes has the latest from the scene.
Police say two men were interviewed. One man in his 20s was stabbed. His injuries though were considered serious but not life-threatening. So I spoke with somebody who was working in the area overnight, and he told me he heard this fight maybe broke out in an alley next to the restaurant.
A 31-year-old man was arrested. Canada's jobs minister says she's putting the latest contract offer from Canada Post to its unionized workers for a vote. Patty Hyman says it's in the public interest to give members a chance to vote on the offer, which the corporation said would be its final proposal. Negotiations have dragged on now for nearly a year and a half, with both sides still seeming to be in a stalemate. The union has pushed back on the idea of a membership vote and is instead calling for arbitration. No shortage of storylines to follow as Canada gears up to host the G7 summit in Kananaskis, Alberta. One of the big questions is whether the meeting of world leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump, will see our two countries finally reach an agreement on trade. CTV News political analyst Thomas Mulcair says Prime Minister Mark Carney is also leaving other options on the table.
Overarching considerations for Canada are going to be determining here. What is our next move? We've been dealing with the madness of King Trump. What's the next move for Canada? Well, the next move is to build better alliances and partnerships with the rest of the world, and that was set out clearly as one of his main objectives.
Officials given that it's not surprising to see Canada invite the Prime Minister of India to the summit as a guest, or that Carney is hosting the Prime Minister of England days before the summit gets underway. And in sports, tonight is Game 4, the Stanley Cup Final between the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers. Edmonton trying to crawl back and even things up at 2 games apiece after they lost Game 3 by a score of 6-1. Puck drop is tonight at 8, and Game 5 moves back to Edmonton on Saturday. And now with a look at the forecast, here's CTV News weather specialist Lindsay Morrison.
Sunny and seasonal today. 24 for the high, humid X 26, and a UV index of 9 or very high. Dropping to 12 degrees overnight tonight with a northeast wind. We are going to be a little chilly tomorrow. Might only make it to about 18 degrees. Cloud cover increases. Any wet weather will likely hold off until the overnight. Still cool for Saturday, but looking brighter. Pleasant on Sunday. Back to seasonal with sunshine. Some summertime heat for next week. From the CTV Weather Center, I'm Lindsay Morrison.
Right now it's 20 degrees. I'm Stuart McGinn. Our next update at 1 o'clock on News Talk 1010.
Shadows so long before my eyes. 沿道路行驶3公里。
Continues on the Radio Talk Network. We're not continuing, ladies and gentlemen. We are beginning, we are launching, we are starting with Free for All Friday on this June 13th. Yes, Friday the 13th. Scott Reed sitting in for Amanda Galbraith all afternoon long for you. If you're in my time zone from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we'll be talking all the headlines with you, walking through a ton of issues. We've got a cracker jack of a show on for you today, especially given what's going on in the world. We've got turmoil in the Middle East with Iran and Israel. We have the G7 looming. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is arriving in anticipation of that this weekend. And with all of that, we are very lucky. We're going to have Bob Ray, Canada's ambassador to the United Nations, going to be joining us just after this next break. So stick around for that and talk about all things G7 and the world that we live in. And then later, we're going to go through a whole host of issues. Why, you're saying? Why on earth are we listening to Peter Frampton as the show began? And that, my friends, is because on this very day, June 13th, 1975, Peter Frampton performed live and recorded Frampton Comes Alive. Released later, 1976, monster album. If you're my age, it was inescapable. If you're at the Roll Arena and you were bombing around on 4 wheels trying to get Lisa Hanthorne to look your way while this big fancy ball was spinning, well, then you were likely listening to Frampton Comes Alive. And so I thought we would kick that off. Later in the show, we're going to talk about other things that happened on this Friday, June 13th in history. And we're going to particularly zero in on Friday the 13th itself. Are you superstitious? Now, some years have 3 Friday the 13ths, some have 2, and less often you have a year with only 1. We are folks in a 1-year zone. 2025 will have only 1 Friday the 13th. It comes today. So if you believe in black cats and walking under ladders, if you are superstitious and freaked out easily, fill your boots, because today is your only opportunity in the entire calendar year of 2025. We'll talk a little bit about why is it people think that Friday the 13th is a bad thing. Where did that superstition arise from? You might be surprised. It's kind of interesting. So we're going to talk about all that later in the day. But right now, I want to kick the show off with what I call the Friday 4. The 4 things that I'm looking at, 4 things I'm watching. I think the first thing, obviously, we've got a world in turmoil. We have Alberta. Mark Carney's been Prime Minister for about a New York minute. Let's call it a Toronto minute. And he's going to be hosting that. So we have a world that has been ripped open as Donald Trump decides to withdraw from security relationships that had forged in Europe since the end of the Second World War. He decides to withdraw from global trading partnerships with just about every developed nation in the whole wide world. He's decided to withdraw from the large hegemonic role that the United States has played in terms of world security. We're watching today Israel and Iran. Israel preemptively striking Iran. Iran losing many of its most significant military leaders, the head of the Revolutionary Guard, some of its nuclear scientists, according to reports. It's a chaotic world, folks. And in the midst of all that, we have, of course, this trade action, not just with the United States and every other nation in the world, but with Canada. And there are talks of secret talks between Canada and the United States, which is one of the critical storylines in forming this G7. So how does Prime Minister Carney juggle his responsibilities as G7 chair, which is largely about building a world where, okay, Trump, I guess if the United States wants to withdraw, then we're going to have to rearm Europe. We're going to have to start spending money in different ways. We're going to have to start trading differently and ignoring you. This is your decision, not ours. So that's going to be the agenda that he's pursuing as G7 chair. But then separately, he's trying to keep the savage orange beast happy because we want to land the plane of this trade deal, which some people say is on the brink of a complete framework. Some people say might come, might not come. Some people are saying don't bet your pennies because Donald Trump is very unpredictable. We're going to put all of this to Bob Ray later, and we're going to ask for his insight as a guy who's attended G7s, as a guy who's worked in international affairs. He's now a diplomat. He's somebody, of course, who worked at high levels of politics. Liberal NDP, was the 21st Premier of Ontario. He's got a wealth of experience. We're going to be lucky to have him on there. So I'm watching for that. Second, as I mentioned, I am watching carefully what's going to happen in the Middle East.
We know that Israel struck. We know that the United States basically issued a statement saying, listen, this is not with our blessing. We told Israel that if they're doing this, they're not doing it with our support. And now we know that everyone's on tenterhooks waiting to see what will the response of Iran be and how forceful will it be. How many dominoes are going to fall. This feels like a very dangerous moment. And you have to wonder, like, are we watching in real time the consequences of not having American leadership, which has been far from perfect in lots of ways and lots of times? On the other hand, there has been something to say for the ability of American presidents to say behind the scenes, Israel, if you're thinking about doing that, don't do that. Iran, if you're thinking about doing that, do not do that. We will withdraw our support. We will bring holy hell down on top of you. There has been a stabilizing effect of America's might, its hard power, its soft power, its ability to control, its ability to bully. But if America's going to lead the field, if it's just going to say, hey, Israel, here's the intelligence, we will tell you where to find the generals. By the way, we'd rather you not do it, but if you're going to do it, we're not going to stop you. So now we're in this very, very nerve-wracking situation. We don't know what's going to happen and what the ripple effects will be. Iran obviously is a nuclear power, and we watch and we worry about what might come next. I want to talk a little bit about the trial of these young hockey players in London, Ontario. The Hockey Canada scandal that's been with us now for at least a couple of years. The Crown is pretty much wrapping up. The defense is going to wrap up. So we're going to pretty soon go to a point where the judge is going to probably take the summer and consider, who knows exactly the legal ins and outs of this, but going to take and determine what the verdict is. Guilty, not guilty, guilty on all fronts. A couple of the Mikey McLeod's been charged with more than one crime. So we'll see what the outcome is. And we've talked about this off and on. Here's the only thing I want to say about this issue. As a father of a kid who plays hockey, minor hockey, a couple boys who play minor hockey, but one who's 15. We'll see what the verdict is. I haven't sat in on the trial, so I don't want to pretend that I should tell you guilty, not guilty. I have my own personal views. But I'll tell you what I will, and what I do tell my sons. If you are in a room with a bunch of your friends, if you are having sex with a young woman in front of your friends, if the idea is that in this room you will be having sex with someone in front of others, get out of that GD room. That is not a room you should be in. As your dad, I am telling you, that is not a maybe. That is not a here's how you split the straw. That is a must. That is a rule. That is an expectation that I am freighting you as your father. Get out of that room. Don't be in that room. Don't be the kind of person who's in that room. So we'll see what the criminal determination is. But I know that it's wrong to be in a room having sex with one woman in front of your pals. That is just flat wrong. And that is the advice I give my sons. And other people may have points of view, and people get very, very emotional about this on both sides of the issue, and we should. This is about violence, this is about sexual assault, this is about consent, this is about the expectations for young women from young men, this is about raising kids, this is about hockey and the role it plays, and what we lend those young players, the celebrity and the sense of privilege we lend them. It's about all those things. But it's also just like, what are you going to do as a parent as your kids are watching and talking about this? Last thing I will say, just sticking with hockey, but turning the page significantly. Last night, man. Those Edmonton Oilers, Draisaitl coming through in overtime, and I am a monster Habs fan, but I have become a dedicated Oilers fan. And later in the show, I'm going to kick this topic around, which is, can Canada's team really not be your team? Like, are you capable as a Leafs fan of lending your full energy to someone like the Oilers or the Winnipeg Jets? If you're a Habs fan, can you do the same? I'll tell you what, that kind of comeback last night, a double comeback, that's the kind of comeback that makes champions. Scott Reed, when we come back, we're going to talk to Canada's ambassador to the United States, Canada's ambassador to the United Nations, I should say, Bob Ray. That's when we come back right here on the iHeartRadio Network.
Time for News Talk 1010 Time Saver Traffic.
Good afternoon, and starting your afternoon drive off with problems from the morning. Southbound 410 on the approach to the 401 ramps. 2 left lanes blocked following a crash, and then headed towards the 401 westbound. Headed ongoing maintenance past Dixon Martin Grove. It's daily. It happened through the midday, and it has the left lane blocked very, very slow, pretty much from the Allen. Then eastbound the 401 in the express through Markham Road. Maintenance, slow-moving pothole repair crews blocking 2 lanes, so that's adding to your jam-ups. And southbound on the 400 in the collectors through Langstaff. Find the right line out with the crash. Off the major and serious collision. And Sutton has Highway 48 closed both ways between Park Road and Ravenshoe. News Talk at 1010 weather. For your day today, we'll see some sun, we'll see some cloud. And highs only reaching 19. Right now, we're almost at that high. It's a mostly cloudy. 17 degrees. No matter if it's a tree, fence, or pool or deck, always click before you dig. It's free and it's the logs at ontarioonecall.ca. I'm Adjua and Sianya. Your next update at 12:30 on News Talk 1010 Toronto.
Callum, Sarah, I heard you had something for me.
You're gonna like it.
Everyone is going to like it.
Okay, what is it?
You know how we get engagement ring prototypes from all the top designers?
Yes, but that's not new.
Let her finish.
But it is new. We have 8 exciting new engagement rings.
Plus 2 that are super exciting.
We call it the Top 10 Collection.
Are they elegant?
Extremely elegant.
Dazzling?
Delightfully dazzling.
Affordable?
Amazingly affordable.
8 exciting engagement rings?
Yes, plus 2 that are super exciting.
Michael, come and take a look at the Spence Top 10.
You really want to see the Spence Top 10.
Do you know who should come and see them?
Who?
Everyone who is in love.
It is good to be in love.
Extremely elegant, delightfully dazzling.
And amazingly affordable.
I love this place.
I love this place too.
That makes 3 of us.
Spence. Across from Scarborough Town Center, near Square One in Mississauga, and next to Colossus Theater in Vaughan.
McDonald's summer drink days are back. Which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer. Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude do it.
The Ford government's Bill 124 capped public sector wages at 1%. That means your neighbor, your parents' care worker, and your community mental health worker were all pushed into poverty. A year after it was repealed, the Conservatives have given some workers their money, but ignored others. Social service workers can't be ignored anymore. Our communities are struggling, and when politicians pick winners and losers, we all lose out. Workers in healthy communities are worth fighting for. This message brought to you by CUPE and OPSU SEFPO members.
Discover more value this Father's Day weekend at Loblaws. Get family-sized strip loin steak for $9.88 per pound. Offer ends June 15th. Shop in-store or online. Conditions apply. See flyer for details. Loblaws, proudly Canadian since 1919.
This is Fred.
Hey, how's it going?
This is Fraud.
Hey, how's it going?
Can you tell the difference? Bell can. We'll identify unwanted calls and help block them. For more information, visit bell.ca/call detection. Bell. Peace of mind just got better.
Mark's Can't Miss Summer event is on now. Until June 18th, save up to 60% on a wide selection of styles perfect for summer, including sandals, shorts, polos, dresses, and more. Can't Miss Summer event on now at marksandmarks.com.
Ontario invites you to take a stand for our home by discovering our home. Come stand by the clear blue waters of the south, the deep waters of the north, the rushing waters of Niagara. Stand in our small towns, warm and welcoming. Stand under the tallest of towers or in the halls of our country's capital. But most of all, stand proud for Ontario, our home like no other. Discover your next adventure at destinationontario.com. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
It's time to take a trip to Markham. Just 20 minutes from downtown Toronto, Markham has one of the most exciting dining scenes in the region. From Michelin-recommended restaurants to cozy local favorites, every spot offers a unique flavor of this vibrant city. Markham's culinary scene is a food lover's dream. So, what are you waiting for? Plan your trip today at visitmarkham.ca, and your food adventure awaits.
Hey, it's John Moore. It's spring, or as I call it, Jiffy season, which means there is so much to do around my home. And as if I didn't have enough on my plate, the washing machine filled up and then crashed. Jiffy is especially good in an emergency. I connected with Omer, who showed up the same day, needed a part, came back, problem solved. Now on to the rest of my list, but that's okay. Jiffy has a pro for everything. Download the Jiffy app or sign up at jiffyondemand.com. Use the code WORDTALK. You get $25 off the first job. Jiffy is Canada's #1 home maintenance app.
Why do the birds go on singing?
Fridays. Well, folks, the G7 is gathering in Kananaskis with Mark Carney, our Prime Minister, as chair. It is unfolding in the context of massive disruption to worldwide trade. Donald Trump walking away from trade deals, not just with Canada, but with almost the entire world. It is unfolding in the context of enormous changes in the way that continental Europe is protected and the security is arranged as America, frankly, begins to withdraw from the role that it's played since the Second World War. And, of course, it's unfolding in real time in the context of Israel's attack on Iran, and as we all will wait to see what Iran's response will be. With all of that context, we are incredibly lucky to have Canada's ambassador to the United Nations, the 21st Premier of Ontario. Bob Ray joins us today. How are you, Bob?
I'm good. With global affairs notwithstanding, thank you for reaching out. Glad to talk to you.
Well, I was really, really excited that you agreed to come on the show because I can't imagine someone with a better and broader perspective on all that confronts us. And before we go to the G7, and I've got about 60 questions for you, but before we go to that, I do want to ask about, this events unfolding in the Middle East and your perspective as our ambassador to the United Nations. What might we expect? And how concerned should we be that this could spin out of control with a response from Iran?
Well, I think everyone should be concerned. I mean, the Iranian nuclear program and the Iranian regime generally have proven to be extremely disruptive to the stability of the region. And the country itself is in serious trouble because of what's happened to the economy and the repressive nature of the Khomeini regime. But this event, obviously an attack by Israel based on information that was not only becoming available to them, but even the International Atomic Energy Association draw attention, quite unusually drew attention to the fact that Iran was not living up to its obligations and was walking away from them. So there were many, many signs that this situation was becoming extremely unstable. And that doesn't mean that everyone reaches in and says, oh yeah, an attack is a good idea. I think the Americans are making an effort to reach some kind of a negotiated solution, which was having trouble and reaching a conclusion. And they were due to meet on Sunday.
Yeah.
So here we are. This would be the last what we'll hear. Retaliation, which is why everyone, including Canada, are calling for people to try to get it to a diplomatic space. Very difficult. And when you get into one of these things where people go back and forth and say, well, you raid me, I'll raid you, etc. Well, but this is a side of the world that we're in at the moment.
Speaking of the world we're in, the G7 gathers in Kananaskis, and I guess I wanted to start with a very broad question. There's no end of challenges internationally. We see world trade disrupted. Obviously, we're rewiring the world with respect to security and defense issues. It's particularly acute in Europe, where our continental war continues to be waged. What should we expect? And of course, I should say all of this in the context of a bilateral trade. So I'll just start with this broad. You have a
Prime Minister has made it clear to everybody, and certainly to pragmatic, down-to-earth meeting, which will be Canada trying to make some progress on some critical issues. This is not going to be, an event where expectations are going to be raised sky high about all the wonderful things that are going to come out of it. We have to take account of the world we're in and the place that we're in right now. It's a very, very difficult situation. So if you can get the 7 leaders from Europe and North America together and then add on the second day many countries coming in from other places to come and share their perspectives and with a very focused agenda, and it is with a set of goals that are, I think, realistic in terms of the things that need to be discussed and can be discussed, then I think that will be great. And given the events overnight and the events last well, I think it will. It's going to be a challenging meeting, but I think everyone has noticed that the Prime Minister is cool, calm, and collected, and he's very decisive. So I think there's going to be every effort to have what I would call a practical success and one that moves in a positive direction. It's not going to be easy.
We're talking to Bob Ray, Canada's ambassador to the United Nations. After the break, we're going to take your calls. Text in your comments, your questions to 71010. Call us at 877-518-5151. Get in the queue. We'll be talking to you after the break. Bob, you talked about the Prime Minister being calm and cool and collected. Those are not words that people would typically apply to the President of the United States. In Charleroi, the meeting blew up. Since then, we barely had communications coming out of the G7s because no one feels that they can really put together any kind of reliable statement of shared perspectives. How big a factor? What do you expect from Trump? Are we going to be able to have a productive meeting, or is he going to walk in there and just blow things up?
Well, I would be lying to you if I said that I know what's going to happen. I just think that it's clearly in everybody's interest to have a successful meeting.
Is it in his interest, though? Does he feel that way? Does he want it to be a productive meeting? Or is he happy to say, look, these meetings are worthless, these conflabs, these get-togethers, they don't accomplish anything. It's time for action. It's time for me to exert American power. And therefore, he doesn't really have a shared interest in it succeeding.
No, I mean, we all take, we have to work with the president the American people have elected. We can't afford to be cavalier about that. We have to keep on working with them and keep on trying to find solutions. And I think that we will try to do that. And that, I think, is the spirit. There's been a lot of discussions with the administration and with all the members of the G7, the 6 other countries and other institutions, about what we're trying to do. Canadian public servants have been working for years now, for a couple of years, very hard on what is a realistic agenda, what is a practical approach, how can we make some progress on things like, these are subjects that we're discussing, like critical minerals, like AI, like what we're doing on the technology side, how we can deal with the impact of climate change on forest fires, which we're experiencing very directly, and other issues which other countries are facing. And I think that's the spirit of the approach. This is not somebody trying to rewrite the Constitution of the world. That's true. This is about trying to make some pragmatic progress in very, very difficult circumstances, and we'll just have to do what we can to get across the finish line.
Fair enough. Bob Ray, Canada's ambassador to the United Nations. I apologize, Bob. I could talk to you for an hour, but we are out of time. I got to take a break. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Folks, when we come back here on the iHeartRadio Network, we will be taking your calls. That's when we come back right after this break. Thank you.
This is News Talk 1010, Time Saver Traffic.
Well, the problems are still with us on the southbound 410 on the approach to the 401 ramp. Still those 2 left lanes out with this ongoing collision. Once that clears, we'll let you know, but the delay still remains from well before the 407. And then on to the 401, getting word of problems. OPP reporting issues on the 401 westbound. It's the exit ramp that takes you to West Student Road. At the top of the ramp, it looks like we are dealing with a collision. And then westbound 401 past Dixon Margrove. Left lane blocked with this daily 100 in the collectors of Langstaff. Crews dealing with a collision that is tying up the right lane and definitely getting busier if your travels take you on two of the northbound lanes of the Don Valley Parkway. Pretty heavy from Don Mills up to the 401. Off the meter, it's a reminder. Highway 48 up in Sutton closed both ways between Park Road and Ravenshire following a serious collision. Time saver traffic, Imagua and Siayapua. Your next update at 12:45 on News Talk 1010 Toronto.
There's just so many holes in the system.
Call or text
News Talk 1010 Toronto.
Right now.
Not a desirable place for people to be.
all of it like you need it.
Let's focus on what's going on in our city, in our province, in our country.
Because we need it.
Laws are being broken. Let the cops look after that.
Call or text 416-872-1010.
At Speedy Glass, we know that summer is all about bright days and clear views, but a cracked windshield is a safety risk you don't want to take. So if your windshield needs replacing, Speedy Glass makes it easy. In just one appointment, we'll install your new windshield, recalibrate your front camera, and even submit your insurance paperwork. So before you hit the highway, make sure your windshield is ready. Just book an appointment at speedyglass.ca.
Speedy Glass Repair. Speedy Glass Replace.
Brian, why are we open until midnight? How many people want us to come late at night?
Sometimes people work hard all day when they're moving in or out of the place, and then when they finally get finished late at night, there's a bunch of junk left over that they need hauled away.
That's when they need us, so that's when we come?
And that's when they need us, so that's when we come.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
But when you work late, we work late too.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK anytime before midnight.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Saturday mornings at 9, join Frank Cohn on the Home Improvement Show. Brought to you by McKinnon Heating Cooling, serving the GTA since 1934. Turn to the experts.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
People often ask me how fast I am. Oh, 1 sec. I just went to Bali and back. I'm also fast when it comes to helping people. Like when I helped Bill, his company vehicles were being serviced, and I was able to help him with a business loan. He got the transport trucks they needed, and I got to honk the horn. All of them.
Own your home, need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Fiscal license 12616.
Only Crane brings you the next great animated series for adults, starring Canadian legends Cody Smulders and Will Arnett. Super Team Canada, let's roll! Super Team Canada, new series, stream now. Only on Crane, proudly Canadian, eh?
As a sleep expert at Sleep Country, I've heard some pretty creative solutions when it comes to sleeping hot. But when 11 oscillating fans and ice packs under your pillows just aren't working, know that we're here to help. With temperature-regulating sheets, mattresses, and pillows, we can find a cooling solution that's perfect for you.
Get a mattress starting at $399 at the Sleep Cool event. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Restrictions apply. Speak to a sleep expert for details. Only at Sleep Country. In Sweden, minimalism doesn't mean boring. It means removing the unnecessary and perfecting what remains. Polestar 3, the electric SUV with sports car performance. No bells, no whistles. Just design and performance perfected. Until June 30th, enjoy a $25,000 cash offer. A bold step toward electric without compromise. Yes, $25,000 on a Polestar 3. Visit Polestar Uptown Toronto or Polestar.com. Conditions apply.
It's summer, or as they like to call it at Canada's Wonderland, refreshment season. That's why, for a limited time, you can get free Coca-Cola drinks with select tickets and passes. Stay refreshed with free drinks all day long. Free drinks after you win a stuffed teddy bear. Free drinks at French Fry O'Clock. And even free drinks while you watch your friends ride that ride you're too scared to ride. Buy a ticket or season pass at sixflags.com/summer offer through July 10th. Restrictions apply. Copyright 2025, The Coca-Cola Company.
Free for All Fridays continues on the iHeartRadio Top Network.
Oh man, you can't go wrong on Tears for Fears. And it's Scott Reef sitting in with you from 12 to 2, at least in this Eastern time zone. Here on Free for All Fridays, Amanda Galbraith is away. She's far away. She could be in Kananaskis working on the G7. She could be in Prince Edward County just antiquing. We have no idea. She won't tell us. She just doesn't show up from work, and then they grab me in a panic and say, please come in and do her job. Thank God I'm here, folks. Listen, I want people, if you have a telephone and a tape, now is your time. 877-518-5151, 877-518-5151, or text me at 71010. I read the clean ones and the dirty ones alike, so get me your text. Here's the question, folks. We just had a chance to talk to Canada's ambassador to the United Nations, Bob Ray, talking about the G7, but talking about everything else. World trade relations being completely blown up and busted in the context of the ongoing war with Ukraine and Russia and Europe, in the context of new aggressions between Israel and Iran and their nuclear program. High stakes, that situation, and we are in the middle of it, not at the beginning or the end of it. And of course, all of this happening in the context of that America's a signatory to. So is it good because it's new and therefore he'll take ownership of it? Or is it written smoke because it's from Donald Trump and we can't rely on the guy's word? Want to hear from you, 1-877-518-5151. One person said this about Donald Trump. This broadly reflects my take. You know for sure that Donald Trump is going to turn this G7 meeting into something about him. It doesn't matter where he goes. He wants the limelight to be on him. They're not going to get anything done at this G7 meeting. It's been said before, but why are we letting this happen? All right, folks, I want to hear from you on G7, on the possibility of a trade deal between Canada and the United States. We're going to go to Bill. Bill, is that, I see Bill and Stuart. Are the two of you, or do you live in a place called Stuart that I've never heard of?
No, actually, my name is Bill Stewart, so it's,
well, now I've disclosed your whole name, and people who dislike me are going to target you, Bill. I'm so sorry. Cheapers, you never bargained for this just for the purposes of making a phone call. Sorry, man.
That's fine. I think I put myself out there, so, you know, pretty okay.
I see that you're thinking it's been a long time coming. I'm not crystal clear on what you think it's been a long time coming.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I was listening to the interview with Bob Ray, and it's kind of interesting listening to him. I remember when he got elected, I actually made a point of going down and shaking his hand on a lot of, when he's talking legislature, when he got elected as NDP per year, because he was the first NDP, and it was a really exciting time. So I was interested to be hearing from him, and it reminds me of that. But just with what happened with Israel striking Iran directly and that sort of thing, that's it's been there for a long time, and of course we were hoping that it wouldn't come to this, but it's come to it now, and so it's definitely a concerning time, and it was good that you had him on and talked to him about it, because he definitely he just had some experience now where he can kind of give a critical take on things. So it's just because hearing how Netanyahu, he's phoning Trump today and he's phoning Putin, and that's sort of it's kind of like that. Like I guess he's just to read, because Russia will use Iran as a proxy.
No question. So, yeah. And you're right. That nuclear program has been, obviously, there was a deal with Obama. Trump has been critical of that, but he's been trying to put together some sort of call. It's a frightening time. They're playing at matches over there, and we do not know how things are going to unfold. You know, on that point about Bob being a wise old owl, Bob Ray, it was 40 years ago this month, 40 years ago, that David Peterson and Bob Ray came together, struck a deal, and that ended 42 years of conservative rule in the province of Ontario. David went on and became premier for 5 years until 1990, then called that famous election early, got shotgunned, and Bob became premier for 5 years. So they both made the most of that. James in Ottawa, what are you thinking about as you look forward to the weekend of the G7 meetings?
Hey, Scott, thanks for taking my call. Well, a few things. You know, when it comes to the Trump issue and the potential for a trade deal, we might get something. He seems pretty committed to repatriating the auto sector back to America. You can't blame him.
I think I can blame him.
Well, no.
Set up 60, 70 years ago as an integrated North American effort, and it's been working. So,
well,
why do we want to stop that?
They're an empire in decline. They're trying to do what's best for them and their people. It's nothing personal, you know, that way. But I mean, unless the only way out of the immediacy of the tariffs, I think, would be if the automotive companies that he's trying to get to go back would agree to, okay, well, we'll go back, just give it some time, just so there's, you know, with the tariffs in the meantime, maybe. But, you know, I did want to bring up another point too, Scott. You know, I hear this stuff about, you know, they're talking on the news about, you know, the issues around the Indian Prime Minister Modi coming here. I think Carney's taking a bit of flack unfairly for that. I mean, they are a superpower. We've got to deal with them. You know, the government itself has been incredibly linked to this killing, and so maybe they were. I wouldn't put it past them, you know what I mean? But even so, I mean, there's so many. It's a complex sort of an issue. Without getting too into it, and I mean, obviously, you don't want to see. You know, I'm a law and order guy. You don't want to see people, innocent bystanders, getting shot and so on. But I mean, it's a complex issue, and I think he was right to invite him.
All right, thanks for that, James. I appreciate the call. Very quickly, we're getting tied up against it. Mark in Marca, what's your take on the G7? Do you have any expectations?
Thrilled to have Carney at the helm. I think he's playing it masterfully, inviting these other people. And if you think about it, he's going to negotiate.
This is obviously not just a Trudeau calling. This is Mark, right? Okay.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, I can't imagine Polyev at the helm, to tell you the truth. I think it's a master play by him. He'll slow play it. The bottom line is the security deal will be done. It'll have to do with the Arctic. And then really the most important thing is the Northwest Passage, which people underplay. When you can ship goods from Asia through there, it is a massive savings, not only financially, but environmentally.
Yeah.
So climate change may have done some negative things. It's going to do some positive things, and I'm just thrilled that we got a guy like Carney who's not going to panic, and is going to play the cards right, and he's the perfect antidote to Trump.
All right, Mark, thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Scott, the best thing you did was talk about the roller rink. I love that. And
man, the Balboa Roller Arena, it was, I'll tell you, it was the place to be. I was left empty-handed and alone, but still, I loved it. Thanks for the call, Mark. Have a great weekend. Folks, I got to draw there. We got a couple more calls. We're going to have to bring it to a close because we've got to pay the bills here at Bell Media. That means we break and take commercial, but when we come back, we're going to have plenty to talk about. We're going to do a little focus at me time I try to sit in the chair. I want to, what are the things that have happened on this date in history? So on June 13th, what else happened in history? That's going to be a little history corner when we come back. And of course, we're going to start by talking about Friday the 13th. Why are people so flippin' scared of Friday the 13th? Right here on iHeartRadio Network. Don't go anywhere. Scott Reed will be back after the break.
Time now for News Talk.